Okay, so ready to jump into the crypto world last week.
Absolutely. Always ready for a good crypto deep dive.
Let's do it. March 17th through the 23rd, 2025.
A week packed with action, it looks like.
Yeah, tons of movement. We've got our weekly crypto market report here. Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins going wild.
News, market forces, the whole shebang.
Definitely a lot to unpack. So goal for today.
Get the highlights.
Yeah. The need to knows for crypto this week. What shifted? Why? And we'll skip getting lost in the weeds.
A rapid download of the critical events. I like it.
All right, so Bitcoin, good old BTC, our trusty bellwether, started the week around 83,329, right?
Yep, 83,329.
But kind of a bumpy start, no?
Yeah, beginning of the week was a bit shaky, actually. A little downward pressure.
Then things picked up big time, especially, I think, after the Fed chimed in.
The Federal Reserve, you mean?
Exactly, yeah, the Fed. So by March 19th, Bitcoin's back up around 85,648.
Nice recovery.
And looks like it was heading toward 86,000 by week's end, so not bad, right? A gain of, what, 3 to 4%?
It's lifted for sure.
What do you think really fueled that comeback?
Well, got to look at March 19th. Jerome Powell, the Fed chair.
Ah.
His comments that day, they were key. Painted a picture of, like, okay, the U.S. economy is relatively stable, and interest rates holding steady. 4.25 to 4.5%.
Calmed everyone's nerves a bit.
Big time. Soothe the market jitters, for sure.
Yeah, and it's fascinating how crypto reacts to, pronouncements from the traditional financial world.
Totally.
Like, the report here even mentions Powell's speech. Bam, 4% jump for Bitcoin that day. And it wasn't just crypto, right? Stocks felt it too.
Shows you how interconnected it all is. Crypto's not this isolated thing anymore, part of the bigger system.
For sure. But Bitcoin's climb, not completely smooth sailing, right? We did have some headwinds.
Oh, yeah. Got to factor those in.
The report mentioned something like $876 million flowing out of crypto investment products the week before. That's from CoinShares.
Oof. That's a chunk of change. Definitely a factor.
Probably kept Bitcoin from surging even higher, I bet, even with Powell's good vibes. Shows you. Some investors still playing it safe.
A little hesitation, yeah, you can see it.
Can't forget the EU either, approving that Bitcoin ETF back on March 12th.
Right.
Seems like that kept having a positive effect, making Bitcoin more accessible, more trustworthy, just that ongoing background hum.
Agreed. That's definitely still in the mix.
So it's like a tug-of-war for Bitcoin, positive signals from the Fed, investor caution with those outflows, and then Europe making progress on regulation.
Multifaceted, like always.
Okay, on to Ethereum. ETH looks like it had a stellar week, at least percentage-wise.
So for sure.
Starting point, $1,905, then boom. Surges over 7%.
Yeah.
Powell speech again, right? $2,038 by March 19th. And looks like it was going to end the week around $2,050. That's a solid gain, 7 to 8%. What drove that?
So yeah, Powell definitely lifted the whole market. Good vibes all around.
Yeah.
But Ethereum
had
its own tailwinds, boosting it further.
Like what?
Less Ethereum sitting on exchanges.
What do you mean?
Like the reserves of ETH on exchanges. They went down. Data from Coinfomania. Think of those reserves as like the readily available supply, less available, less pressure to sell right away.
Ah, okay. So that can kind of like prop up the price.
Exactly. Or at least lets it rise more easily when demand picks up.
Makes sense. What about that scalability upgrade from March 11th still making a difference?
Likely providing some baseline support, yeah, making Ethereum more attractive. But those outflows we talked about, 89 million specifically from ETH products, that probably offset the upgrade's impact a bit. Plus competition. Other layer 1 blockchains like Solana are really stepping up.
Solana, yeah, they're making waves. Speaking of, let's talk Solana. They started at $128, dipped almost 5% early in the week. Then, this big rally, hit 134 by March 19th and looks set to finish near 140. That's, what, a 9 to 10% jump for the week?
Impressive, right? The strongest out of the big three we've talked about.
Definitely. What was the big catalyst there?
Solana ETFs, no doubt.
Yeah.
SOLZ and SLT. Launched by Volatility Shares LLC.
On Wall Street, right?
Yep, NASDAQ. March 20th. Big news. Immediate 8% surge for Solana.
Huge! That's the power of making crypto easier for those traditional investors to access.
No doubt. Easier on-ramp.
And the report even quotes the Volatility Shares CEO, Justin Young. He's basically saying, this is a sign, right, that the environment's become more crypto-friendly under the Trump administration.
Interesting take.
Definitely. So these ETFs, they're a signal. Institutional investors are getting more comfortable with Solana, finding easier ways to get involved. A validation, for sure.
Absolutely. Big vote of confidence for Solana and its whole ecosystem.
Plus, not just the ETF news, the report mentions TVL, right? Total value locked. Basically, all the assets being used in those decentralized finance applications, all on Solana, that hit 53.2 million SOL on March 17th.
10% monthly increase. That's substantial growth.
For sure. And they did this even with like a 47% drop in on-chain trading volumes over the 2 weeks before. That's from Cointelegraph.
So trading might have dipped, but the underlying activity, the adoption, especially within Solana's DeFi ecosystem, still strong.
Really interesting how that works. So big, dynamic week for those major players, each with their own story. Now, let's zoom out. Altcoins. Looks like they had a wild ride.
Buckle up. Altcoins are known for their volatility. Last week definitely delivered on that front.
The report highlights some pretty crazy swings, like BNX, it just shot up. Over 56% in a single day by March 17th. Could have ended the week up 60, even 70%. Wow.
Those kinds of jumps. Usually driven by speculation, maybe some specific news about the project.
Definitely makes you wonder. Then we've got Solixi, SOLX, right? That's a token built on Solana, a layer 2 token.
Right.
They were about to hit like a $26 million milestone in their presale.
As of March 15th, yep. And likely gained 20 to 30% over the week.
Not bad for a newbie. Really shows the excitement around Solana.
Definitely. When it comes to Solana, the market is paying attention. New projects on their platform, they get a lot of buzz, a lot of investment.
For sure. But of course, not all sunshine and roses, right? We saw some dips too.
Yes. The other side of the coin, literally.
MOV, for example, down over 6% on March 17th and possibly 10 to 15% for the whole week. Ouch.
Shows you not everything's moving in the same direction. Some parts of the altcoin market struggling a bit.
A good reality check. The report also mentions Toncoin and Polkadot. They saw some nice gains early in the week.
Up 10 to 15% potentially.
So yeah, definitely a lot happening across the altcoin world.
It's like its own little universe.
Yeah.
Right? Driven by different narratives, project-specific stuff. Can't just focus on the big names.
All right, so we've got prices covered. Let's hit the top 10 news highlights. The report ranks them by impact, which is super helpful. Number 1, no surprise, those Solana ETFs launching on Wall Street. We talked about it, but it's the big story. Drove SLL's price up, showed growing institutional interest.
Absolutely. That NASDAQ debut, a watershed moment. And that potential link to a pro-crypto Trump administration adds another layer.
Definitely food for thought. Number 2, back to the Fed. Powell's remarks. We covered it, but it's crucial. Traditional finance announcement, big crypto ripple effect, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, all got a lift.
Shows you how integrated the crypto world is becoming. What happens over there in traditional finance, it affects things here. Can't ignore it.
And number 3, the EU. Again, that Bitcoin ETF approval from March 12th, still having a positive effect. Bitcoin gains, improved accessibility, trust building.
Long-lasting impact for sure.
Yeah.
Regulation, when it's positive, it can really lay the groundwork for wider adoption.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, number 4, this is interesting. The market starts bearish, then recovers. We had those initial losses for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, pulled the whole market cap down for a bit.
A reminder, volatility is always lurking.
Midweek rebound shows you crypto has some bounce back power.
Resilience, right. Ability to shake off negative sentiment.
Okay, number 5, Solana's TVL, that new high. We talked about it, but it's a big deal. All that activity in DeFi, even with trading volume fluctuating.
They even surpassed BNB Chain's TVL at one point.
Yeah.
Saying something. Solana is becoming a major player in DeFi.
No doubt. Then number 6, CME Solana futures. They launched, but the report mentions the volume was lower compared to, like, Bitcoin and Ethereum futures launches.
Could be a sign of the market being a bit less optimistic at the time.
Maybe. But still, a step forward, right? Solana futures on the CME, that's big for institutional involvement.
Absolutely.
Number 7, this one's a bit wild. XRP almost flipped Ethereum. Like, their market cap's super close. XRP was less than $100 billion behind.
Wow, that's tight.
This was by March 16th. Seems like the Trump administration's perceived pro-crypto stance might have helped XRP. Plus, Ripple's been making moves in DeFi.
Right, they've got their own ambitions there. And Ethereum had a slightly weaker week, which probably played a role too.
For sure. Shows you. Those top spots, they're not set in stone. Market sentiment, project developments, they can shake things up, even among the big players.
Always competition. Makes things interesting.
Number 8, back to altcoins. Some soared, others tanked. BNX, Cake, Barra did well. Move, not so much.
Again, that divergence we talked about.
Yeah.
Broad market might be recovering, but individual altcoins, they're on their own journeys.
Unpredictable, for sure. Number 9, school, Pakistan. Their crypto council proposed Bitcoin mining, but here's the twist, using extra renewable energy,
I saw that.
trying to build a regulatory framework for digital assets. Pretty innovative, right?
Yeah. Shows you how countries are thinking about crypto and blockchain tech in general. Different approaches, different goals. It's a global phenomenon.
Last but not least, number 10, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, he issued a warning about inflation, blamed it on Trump's trade policies, kind of dampened the mood, made people think maybe interest rate cuts aren't coming.
And that put a little pressure on crypto prices.
Shows you those big economic concerns, they still cast a shadow. Investors get nervous, and crypto, being a riskier asset, it feels it.
Makes sense.
All right, so wrapping it all up,
Well,
March 17th to 23rd, 2025, a week of recovery for crypto for sure, shaped by what? The Fed, for one. Their announcements had a big impact, and of course, those key crypto events. Solana ETFs, DeFi growing on Solana.
Totally. We saw those contrasting performances too,
Yeah.
right? Not just between Bitcoin and Ethereum, but within the altcoins as well.
So what's the takeaway? Institutional adoption, regulation, the global picture, economic worries, they all play a role. It makes you wonder, what's going to be the biggest factor shaping crypto in the weeks to come? What do you think?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Lots to think about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
My pleasure.